now that I've pretty much got a roller here as far as the frame is concerned, I've decided today that I'd like to kind of dive into some sheet metal work and use the English wheel a little bit, and also practice my stump work with shaping hammer. So what I'm gonna do is try to recreate at least one of these back corners here. The way I'm gonna do that is by making a template out of tape, and then we're gonna transfer it to a piece of sheet metal and smash it with a hammer, and then roll it through the English wheel and see if we can't get this curve and shape. All right, so I'm using the tape template here to kind of just get an idea of where the shape is happening, and if you can see how the template is starting to lay down on the panel a lot better than it was, and also how I'm getting the tucks in the panel here, which is pulling the panel into that kind of direction. All right, now watch how much all this, I think they call it walnutting, comes out once we start to roll it pretty quick. Okay, you can see it took out all the lumps and bumps within like 3 or 4 minutes, and we might even have like too much curve up in this area right now, but let's find out. Looks like we definitely need a whole lot more in the center here, and might have to kind of shrink this corner a little bit, squeeze it together. Let's see, might have to, yeah, probably bring some of the hammering over to this area. All right, so I think we may have to kind of trim closer to our template line over here and here so that we can get some shrinking action going on, so that we can really create the roundness that this center piece has, because we're pretty close on the back side here. If anything, it may need a little bit of stretching. I'm not sure yet. We'll find out once we get the movement we need in these areas. So I'm going to trim it a little bit. All right, you can see gradually we are getting more and more shape into the panel, and the template is sitting down on it more and more. Starting to get a little bit, it's not really going the direction I want it to. It needs like much more shape here, and I think what needs to happen is I need to get some shrinking going on in this area. So I'm gonna trim a little bit off here and throw it in the shrinker and see what that does. I'm hoping that what it's gonna do is pinch it together and give us more of the round shape that we're looking for. Shrinking these edges definitely helped. Little by little, it's getting to where we want it to be. The area here is becoming closer to the actual shape that it's supposed to have. We just gotta, it's really difficult to get a really deep tuck so that it pops this area out. Most of our shrinking is happening closer to the edge there, but we're still making progress. I think that some more shrinking in this area for sure is going to help us, and just some more hammering in the center section here as well. But my forearms are feeling like they're about to fall off. This is not as easy as it looks, swinging that hammer and bending this metal. So I'm going to take a break and we'll get back to this a little later. You just saw a time lapse of me attempting to form this rear corner of the cab on the Model A. This is the tape template that we came up with to get us our shape of our curve that we were going to try and follow on our piece of sheet metal. And I've come to the conclusion that I bit off a little bit more than I could chew with this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the panel and go ahead and cut it right here so that I can shrink this section and really get it to pop out in the center here where I need it to. First, I'm gonna lay my template back onto the car here, and we're gonna figure out where we wanna cut. All right, almost immediately, we have gained a lot of compound curve here. You can see it doesn't bunch up nearly as much as it did before. And I think with a few more good whacks with the hammer, we should shrink up this edge enough to really get the shape we're looking for. So I'm gonna go ahead and smooth these out a little bit with a metal hammer, and we will get back over there to our shrinking stump. Man, that fog happening inside the lens? Yeah. All right, it's really starting to take form like we want. So I think we're almost ready to start throwing it in the English wheel and rolling it out in the center. Oh yeah. Every time that we bring it back to the template here, there's a little less bunching up of the material in the center. So let's roll it out and see what we come up with. I'm gonna try and get a tuck going right in this area here to pinch it together, and I'm hoping that'll cause this to pop out a little bit more. A pretty good amount of shrinkage. I had to stop before this metal started to fold over here, and we'll take it over to the top half of the tank and flatten that out so that it doesn't cause a crease. We need in this area right here. Unfortunately, when I do hit it with the hammer in that area, it doesn't create any shrink tucks that deep into the panel. So we're just gonna try and beat some shape into it.
Alright, it's raining pretty hard, so you probably won't be able to hear me good, but slowly but surely bringing the metal up in this area right here. and you can tell it just doesn't wrinkle a lot when we push the template down anymore. So we're gonna roll it some more, put a little bit more pressure on the wheel, and once we get this to the height we want, we'll start worrying about maybe stretching out the edges a little bit to make the edge sit down, like here and here and here. And then we should be right where we want to be. It's looking good. Check it out. Almost a cab corner. You probably noticed that I'm twisting the panel a lot, and that is to kind of avoid digging in these what they call track marks from the wheel. It's kind of hard to see, but as I apply more pressure with the upper wheel here and roll the panel in one direction, it leaves a bunch of little lines, and the only way to try and avoid that is to twist the panel and roll it in another direction, and then do the same thing over and over again, and that kind of keeps it nice and smooth. So it's working pretty well. Been spending a little bit of time just trimming the piece that I've been working on for the top corner and trying to bend it into the form that we want, and we're getting real close. You can see there's still some high spots, but some of the sides are really starting to take shape. So I'm just gonna keep working at it. I think we're almost pretty much done with trying to stretch the metal or shrink it. Might just take a break and think about it a little bit, come back to it in a while. But I'm really happy with the progress. Looks like we're gonna save it after all. I decided to jump on to the other side now, since we're getting pretty close with the driver's side, and see if I can apply what I've learned from making that panel to this one. So I've already got my template drawn out and started to hammer in some tucks so that we can get the shrinkage around the edges we're gonna do. Pretty good shape beaten into it so far. But as you can see, we're gonna need a lot more. I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw it through the English wheel and smooth it out and see where that lands us. A little difficult getting a lot of shape into the center area there. I can't get those tucks to go real deep into the panel like I would like. I think maybe it could be because of the shape of my bowl. It's not large enough, but we're gonna make it work either way. So this is basically, you know, we don't have a ton of, it's getting there basically. So, little by little. Still got a lot of curve to beat into it. So we'll just keep hammering on it for now. We're definitely making progress here. You can see the top is starting to form up a little bit. Just gotta get some more shape into this area down here. Yeah, we're getting there. time to trim some of the excess off so that we can get some shrinking going on a little deeper into the panel. Getting somewhere. You can see the template's not pushing down a whole ton like it was before. Hit it a couple times with a sledgehammer, which I wouldn't recommend because it left some nasty marks that I'm hoping will come out as I continue to wheel it. But they're pretty deep. I don't know. You can even see them into the backside. So stick with the mallet with the plastic tips for sure. Here's how we're looking. I think it's about where we started at this morning with the other piece. So making some pretty good progress. All right, we're getting very close. Just this section right here in the center needs to crown a little bit, kind of right around those sledgehammer marks. So hopefully we're able to iron them out a little bit better. Let's see, there's a little bit of air in there. Not much though. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim the panel a little bit more. We weren't able to get those scars all the way out either, so we're just gonna send it. But this one's looking pretty good. I can almost see myself in the reflection. I've been starting to try and fit it up on the car and it's getting pretty close. I do have a little bit too much stretching right here in this area. So what I'm gonna do is fire up my torch and just heat that spot until it's red hot and then hit it with the air gun to kind of cool it down and hopefully it shrinks down rather nicely. Let's give it a shot and see what happens. Got the other side fitting fairly well. I think somehow or another I made a mistake with the template because what I did was I just inverted it to try and create the other side, but from the way it's fitting or was fitting and from the way it looks, the way it sits on there, it looks like somehow or another I ended up making the piece upside down. So this is the driver's side that I finished, and you can tell that the way it's shaped, there's a longer point up here and a shorter corner down here. And with the passenger side, it looks like that shorter corner ended up down here and the longer corner ended up here. But it still managed to fit okay. Luckily, I left enough excess on there to still reach over to the window area here. It does end up being a little shorter on this side, which is kind of a bummer, but it's not a big deal because we're going to make those front panels anyways. Here you can see what I'm talking about. This one's a little bit longer. And but overall, I'm super pumped on how it came out and my ability to just watch a couple of YouTube videos and go to work and end up with a halfway decent end result. So these are probably one of the more difficult panels that we're gonna have to make for the entire car. So I'm glad to have that out of the way. And from here on out, it'll be a lot more smoother sailing because it's these pieces here are basically just a curve. We'll take a panel and curve it like this and then run it through the English wheel a couple times to get that very slight compound curve to it. And the same goes for the back here. And then the back window panel is obviously gonna be fairly flat. And overall, that's about it for today. I'll grab that corner piece and kind of slap it on there, see what it looks like before I call it a day. All right, obviously I didn't do much to it. Could use a little work, but it's a fairly one-dimensional curve, so those pieces are going to be pretty easy to throw together. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys next time.